This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
All right, the bet is in. Check, check, check.
I don't think your mic is on, but maybe we can do it.
Hello. There we go. The bet is in.
There we go.
We're both together. Team play on UNLV -2.5 against
All right,
Wyoming.
put it on the screen, please.
Let's
wait
go.
a minute. Yeah, no,
exclusive on the Mountain West Network. But what I was telling you is
MW.com.
that was so for your girl, first job out of college with the Mountain West Conference, specifically working for their digital network. That was my time to shine.
Mm-hmm.
When we had those first round games that nobody was watching except for the people that were really dedicated to the program or degenerate gamblers, like that was the time of the times for me to get some reps in for sideline where I was real bad.
There you go.
I don't know if I've gotten that much better, but it was a process.
Did you still have your squeaky voice?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm terrified.
That's still one of the more incredible clips that you've shown me. You haven't shown me many, but.
I've never put it out there socially.
That clip?
Yes.
Yeah.
I send it to like young aspiring reporters and stuff.
Who also have annoying voices?
I'm like, listen, you too can get some depth to your voice.
What's crazy to me is you've done that. So Stormy like deepened her voice, I guess is the way to say it.
Over time, my voice has matured.
Yeah. But what's crazy to me about it is sometimes you'll hear people in broadcasting that will do it when they're just on the air.
Right.
So I have a buddy who has done some broadcasting work before in the past, and he does like power voice guy whenever he's on the microphone. But then when you talk to him, he's got like a deep voice, but he doesn't talk like that. You talk like that now, even off the mic. Like that is your voice.
It's just my voice. That has become my voice over the years.
You should put that clip out. We're talking about it. Our audience can have no context to what I'm saying, but it is a interesting clip, and it is impressive to say the least.
I had a very, very like mousy voice when my career first started, and a big criticism was never the content of my reports, but that my voice was like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
So some of you might still feel that way, but we're working on it. That said, we've got a big hour on deck here. We're going to continue to keep tabs on all of the college basketball stuff. Like we said, we did lay the 2.5 here with UNLV for this game that's about to tip off in the next couple minutes here at the Thomas and Mack. We'll also continue our MLB play ball series today, breaking down the Baltimore Orioles. We'll have Christopher Powers join the program in a little bit of Golf Digest, get his thoughts on the Players Championship set to get underway at TPC Sawgrass tomorrow, and a whole lot more. But I do want to get started here in the NBA because obviously yesterday was massive for the game of the day actually getting outshadowed. Spurs-Celtics was what we were talking about all day and how excited we were for it. San Antonio does ultimately end up getting that win, and there's a little controversy as well there. But
got a little lucky.
The story of the day ends up being Bam Adebayo in the Miami Heat. He puts up 83 freaking points, second most in an NBA game ever. Started early, reeled off 31 in the first quarter alone. And then once Kobe's kind of mythical 81 was in range, Eric Spoelstra and the Heat were doing everything they could to get him to that number.
That's the unethical part of this. So up until a certain point, Bam Adebayo was having an incredible game and deserved to have the scoring total that he had. When he got to about like 70 points or so, when you're fouling to extend the game so you can give him opportunities, that's where you kind of get a little crazy.
So I want you to hear from a couple other NBA coaches when they saw this come down from around the league. First, let's go to JJ Redick.
It's incredible what he was able to do. I walked in and I saw the score. He was at the free throw line, and I saw the score. And they've been playing great basketball lately. And I said to my coaching staff, he's rolling. They all kind of looked at each other. They're like, are you kidding right now? I was like, no, what's up? They're like, they're 36 and 28 or whatever they are. They're getting ready to be 37 and 28. And they're like, no, Bam has 77. And I was like, huh? And then I watched the last 3 minutes, and it was a different type of basketball.
So he adds that at the end. And then Ime Udoka, when he's on the podium as well, was a little bit more direct in his thoughts about it.
Yeah, I mean, first thing you think is how, because of, not because of him, but because of the way he plays, and I saw only made 6 threes, but 40 free throws or something like that. Tells the story right there. And the Washington Wizards.
The little dig at the end, though. Was a no-sweat cover, by the way, for Miami. Easy.
Yeah, look, we can talk about the ethics of basketball, whatever it is. 43 field goal attempts, 43 free throw attempts. It's absolutely insane when you look at the ball left Bam Adebayo's hands 86 times in that game. I mean, that's in some form of a shot attempt, whether it be a free throw or a field goal attempt. It was nuts. They were clearly trying to run it up there at the end, fouling so they could get extended out. It's fine. It's whatever. To act like Bam Adebayo is the only person who has ever purposely chased stats so they could get to a record is very stupid. A lot of basketball players have done it. A lot of people have done it in sports as well. So we see this. And what is this? So did some bettors get in on this as well somehow?
Yes. So I saw this on Twitter. A bettor on FanDuel placed an 80-1 on Bam to score 74 plus at halftime of the game. So a $250 bet paid more than $20K.
We believe this.
So apparently he put it, what are those things called where you have Discord? He put the bet on a Discord channel and other people ended up betting it too.
Okay, all right.
So it's not just, because I thought the same thing.
Those are all real
how many
people,
of these can be doctored? So I don't know.
Those were not bots.
At least I did see more representation on that.
Yeah.
And it was, BR Betting is the one that put this out that I saw it on. But apparently this is real and won $20K on a live halftime bet trying to get on him to make, I think, what was it, 4th on the list?
Yeah.
74 plus. Regardless, we do have more action coming up today. 6-game slate on deck, and I know we'll have best bets at the end of the program today, but anything in the NBA that really caught your attention today, other than, of course, our Hornets being in action and slumping a little bit?
Well, today kind of sucks. That's what sticks out. I mean, there's not really a ton of great games.
So does the NHL. We'll get to that. We had 13 games yesterday, 2 today, and then 14 tomorrow. So somebody tell me why.
Right. I think, to me, the nightcap is where you're going to go here. 7:40 p.m. Pacific time, we get a tip-off between the Minnesota Timberwolves and Los Angeles Clippers. By the way, speaking of West Coast, Best Coast, very West Coast heavy card today. Very, very good. A lot of the majority of the tips coming after 6 o'clock tonight on the West Coast. But as we have talked about here with the Los Angeles Clippers, they have been playing incredible basketball. Again, the other day, we talked about that because had the Clippers plus 2.5 against the Knicks. They go out there, they win the game against New York, and here they are, short home favorite against Minnesota. Timberwolves continue to be a team that you just cannot trust on a game-to-game basis. Last time we saw them, they go out and they lose to the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, the Lakers were playing without LeBron. I think now, 10-2 in the games without LeBron, but both with Luka. And, wow, why am I blanking on Austin Reeves' name?
Reeves,
I was going to say, why am I blanking on Austin Reeves' name? The other white guy. But the Lakers get that done, 120-106. And I got to tell you, I mean, I think that the Clippers are getting a little shorted here. I don't think that they're that much different than the Los Angeles Lakers, and they get that win, but I think their power rating should be a little bit higher than what they're given credit for. There's clearly been an adjustment. Timberwolves were about a 2.5-point favorite against LA when they played the Lakers. Now they're catching 1.5 here, but I think they can get this done, man. I think that you have enough with your bigs, especially when it comes to Lopez. Space the floor, bring out Gobert, make this team work. When he's not on the floor, Gobert, they've been a poor defensive team, so we're going to ride the Clippers train one last time here tonight, Stormy, because I do think they can get it done. Last time they played, remember, it was like a low-scoring kind of ugly game, and that was the game where it was in the middle of the week, and the Clippers had 3 days off, and Kawhi popped up as questionable, and we were like, why? Like, he had 3 days off. He played the last game. Why wouldn't he be able to be available here? And they still pushed him 94-88, let go of the rope late. This is a team that comes into this thing. They've covered 6 out of the last 7 games. You want to zoom out a little bit more, 11 out of the last 12, or excuse me, 11 out of the last 13. They've been very, very good. Give me LA at home tonight. Any
money line or alt spread parlays you want to do fading these tanking teams? You got the Knicks laying 13.5 in Utah taking on the Jazz, and then our Hornets laying 12.5 in Sacramento. It's hard to, because again, what are we going to pair it with? Pair them with I would guess something college basketball. Or
yeah,
whatever,
you could do that if you want to find a big favorite later today. Let's see. Let's just tour the board really quickly, and you can find a money line favorite that you feel like you can trust. Nevada against Air Force.
Sure.
That's another big one. But again, you're still going to be laying the price.
Is really big. So.
Exactly. Do you want to do 4-teamer? Boise State, Nevada, and then the 2 tanking teams today, as we discussed as well. I think you'd feel relatively comfortable there, given the money line prices of all 4 of them. But I think today's one where you kind of scratch it off and wait to another day to fight. Sacramento's getting a little bit of support to it. The window, it opened 14. It's down to 12.5 against Charlotte. I will point out, I will be betting the Clippers. Somewhat tempted here by Houston. That is a pretty big number. Understand what's going on here with Houston when you look at this number against Denver. I mean,
7.5 is what he's talking about. And the total 231.5. And
the injury report is not awful. Dorian Finney-Smith is the only notable name I guess we'll throw on here with the ankle injury and management, but Şengün's out there, Ahmed Thompson's out there, Kevin Durant's out there. This is a pretty big number for a Denver team that has had its own problems and coming off of a very big game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't know if it's a letdown per se, but Cam Johnson probable, Jamal Murray probable, so that's always good. Still no Peyton Watson, but 7.5 seems a little bit high for where I power both of these teams and where they're at right now. So I have not ruled out playing the Houston Rockets here today either.
The other two short spread games, we've got the Cavs laying 3.5 in Orlando taking on the Magic, total 225.5. And then the Toronto Raptors, a short road favorite, 2.5, that spread, total 234.5 in New Orleans taking on the Pels.
Yes, indeed. Sorry, I thought you said that with like the finishing of the...
Those are games that exist, but I don't have anything for you. That said, with all this college basketball talk as well going on right now, conference tournaments, we'll continue to update scores as we go here this hour. But a reminder that our Hoops Mania special is going on right now, where you can get VSiN Pro access to everything we do here at the network through May 1st for just $29.99. With VSiN Pro, you'll get all of our daily best bets from the VSiN show hosts and guests, real-time best splits from DraftKings and Circa. Find out where the market is moving. We've got AI-powered prop tools right now, matchup analysis, 24/7 video, and full show replays, all available on the VSiN Watch app. But you only get it if you're a full-time subscriber. Plus, when you're a full-time subscriber, you get all our betting guides for free, which includes the March Mania betting guide that as soon as the tournament bracket is set, we're going to have individual team previews, bracket analysis, best bets, future strategies, and more. VSiN.com/subscribe, VSIN.com/subscribe to get into that. So I'm excited for our next segment. When we come back after a 13-game card in the NHL yesterday, like I mentioned, 2 games today. So we'll give you a preview of both Canadian Senators and Caps Flyers. Plus, with us being less than an hour away from the official start of the new league year, we've seen more and more stuff come out of free agency, before free agency, negotiating window, whatever it is. But also, Daniel Jones signing a big-time deal with your team. I'm particularly excited to get JVT's reaction.
My depression can't get any worse. What are we doing?
He was already having a hard time with Trey Hendrickson getting picked up by the Ravens because he thought Indy had him, and then he goes, oh, great, we're going to pay Daniel Jones $50 million. We'll discuss that and more coming up.
Hey, let me get your attention real quick, podcast listeners. It's March, which means the madness is officially upon us, and the folks at VSiN have really gone crazy with this one. I'm being told that for just $29.99, you can get unlimited access to VSiN Pro through May 1st. I'm talking picks through the tournament, public betting data for every single game, plus sharp tools, projections, articles, and more. But here's the thing. There's already a ton up on the site for Champ Week, which means every day you wait is an opportunity missed. Just click the link in the description to get started. It's March, baby. All right, now back to the show.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Put your March tournament knowledge to the test at the highest level. This one's for you, ladies and gentlemen. Splash Sports offering $1 million guaranteed in contest prizes with its high-stakes Survivor contest. $1,000 to enter, $1 million on the line. This is not your average office bracket pool. This is Survivor. Pick a team each round, win and advance, outlast everyone else, and you're in share for a piece of $1 million. Right now, new players using the promo code VSiNMM26 get a 50% deposit match up to $100, a free Quick Picks entry up to $20 on them, plus a 100% Quick Picks payout boost on an entry up to $20. Entries close March 19th, so don't wait. Head over to splashsports.com/VSiN today. And again, use that code VSiNMM26. Must be 21 or older. Available in select states only.
Chris Massaro checks in. We saw him the other day walking in here. Says, stop betting with your hearts. JVT, Stormy, Buonantony. Lots of sharp money on the Cowboys. Laying 2.5. We could both win, but I think Wyoming dominates. UNLV on the boards. Probably wins outright. He attaches an image. Wyoming +5 is what he is sitting on. Which I responded with, yeah, it's a really good number. I would play that too.
That's different. 2.5 and 5.5 are very different numbers.
We can all win.
We can.
3, 4.
Would love a nice little middle for the Massaro Money Moves crew here. I do want to.
I give him a better dap. Massaro, if you're watching, you can attest to this. It was a very interesting exchange because all three of us, I believe, were walking out. Justin, you were with us, if I remember correctly. And it was. You guys both saw Chris, and you gave him, like, pathetic little handshakes. And then when you were both done, I said, what up, man? And I gave him a really good dap up.
Well, I don't know Chris like that. We've only had him on the show a couple of times since we've worked together, and both times I've embarrassed myself by introing him a segment early, to which then he has to text you in panic mode, like, am I supposed to be on right now? Mm-hmm. So I'm still working my way up with Chris. I don't know how he feels about me just yet.
I mean, he told me the other day he thought you sucked a little bit, but he's coming around.
I can see that. You know who else sucks, at least in your eyes?
No, it's not true. Don't put words in my mouth.
The people that put together the contract for Daniel Jones.
Not really.
Is that fair?
So, look, it's the going rate, I suppose, for a quarterback.
Of his ilk, though?
We're still waiting for some of the specifics in terms of, cap hits. I think if there's like any voids on it or anything like that, we haven't really seen a ton of what that looks like here. But 2 years, we should actually say it accurately. 2 years, 88.5, worth up to 100.5. So that's
still the largest 2-year
Yep.
contract in NFL history.
Yes.
50 guaranteed at signing, 60 guaranteed for injury.
Yes. So all of this being said, look, I will tell you this right now. The Colts kind of agree with me. Even though they just gave him 2 years and up to 100.5, they gave him 2 years. They didn't give him 3. They didn't give him 4. They didn't give him a long-term extension. So I saw there was a couple folks like Jordan Schultz, who's one of the reporters that obviously are tied into these agents. They're like, Colts have their franchise quarterback. Like, no, they don't. No, they don't. Not at all. They gave him a tentative deal because they, too, are nervous. He's 28 years old. Don't you think if you thought you had the guy for your future, you'd give him more than just 2 years?
Yes.
No, of course you would. So I think that's part of it is the Colts are even being somewhat tentative with the way that they are signing him. The other part of this is, because I saw a lot of people, because this was thrown out there by a few, is something that I have said a lot, which was the wheels, if you were watching Daniel Jones, the wheels were starting to come off down the stretch before he got injured.
Yes.
And a lot of people kept saying, well, no, he was hurt. You can't say that. You can, because the problems were not with his play. If Daniel Jones had a relatively clean stat sheet from week 9 on and just wasn't performing up to expectation, completion percentage was down, average depth of target was down, but wasn't turning the ball over or wasn't putting it in danger, I think you could attribute most of that to injury. But turnover-worthy plays are decision-making, and his turnover-worthy play rate had spiked exponentially from the Pittsburgh game on. I will reiterate, his last 5 games, 11 of his 18 turnover-worthy plays came in his last 5 contests, one of which he only played 8 snaps in, and that was the game in which he got injured. So there was clearly a sign that he was reverting a little bit back to what Daniel Jones had been with New York. Can Daniel Jones be a serviceable quarterback for this offense? Very clearly. We saw that at the beginning of the year. Is he worth what this price tag really is? Depends on what you mean by that. It's the going rate for a quarterback nowadays, and clearly one would assume that there was some sort of deal like that floating out there for him, or else the Colts probably would not have given him this. So at the end of the day, I don't really love it, but it's a short-term deal. They can get out from it relatively quickly after this year. And the last part on this, I sent this to you guys. This is from Adam Schefter, which I would assume is an agent who texted this to him. Let me scroll past these pictures I sent you guys earlier today. Jones, recovering from a torn Achilles, is expected to be ready for the start of the regular season. And one source told Schefter he, quote, absolutely expects him to be ready for training camp.
We had a great breakdown with Dr. David Chow earlier in the first hour of the program where he did address that statement about Daniel Jones, where he said, could he be ready? Yeah. Will he be the guy that you want and need him to be? Probably not.
Right.
So take that for what you will, which, by the way, if you do want to catch that conversation with Dr. Chow, you find Money Moves wherever you get your podcasts each and every day after the show is over. That said, you mentioned the way that his stats went down the back end of the season after the 8-1 start, where he was awesome, 71% completions. The touchdown to interception ratio was 17-3. Granted, you expected some regression to come from that at some point, regardless when it comes to the touchdown to interception ratio. But it went significantly down. It went 7 touchdowns to 8 picks after that. You mentioned the 18 turnover-worthy plays. And then ending the season with the Achilles injury. And I understand guys like Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers are significantly older than Daniel Jones is, but we at least saw in very recent history what it looks like when someone comes back from that injury at that position. And it wasn't particularly pretty on either front there for a minute. Also, Daniel Jones has had 2 seasons of what I would call good quarterback play, and one of them was this past year over essentially an 8-game sample.
Yeah.
So that does not give me a lot of confidence to want to give a guy like Daniel Jones this type of a contract when especially you thought that the offer was something around the realm of what we talked about with the Sam Darnold type of a deal, where it's 30 a year in that, maybe even a little bit more, sure. But ultimate bag getter, we've called Kirk Cousins that, but look at you, Daniel Jones,
Cousins
for getting
is a better
that.
Quarterback.
The deal you got, the 4-year, $160 million deal after the 2023 season, where then your career not only was not good before that, but had not been good after that in New York either. Yeah. You secure that bag, and then everything falls off. Even before he was significantly injured that first year after getting the contract, his touchdown interception ratio was like 2-6, 2-7, something along those lines. He's a fine quarterback. That's the way you put it, and I agree with it. He's a fine quarterback, but a fine quarterback coming off an Achilles injury, to me, does not warrant $50 million a year.
You already had a slip up. You already had a slip up last week. Relax. You're about to drop an F-bomb. No, I would agree with all points, and we brought this up with Chow. You said it too. He's also going to be a different quarterback. He's not going to have the same mobility. Are you going to even want to use him in quarterback sneak situations anymore? I would assume that goes to Tyler Warren exclusively as you move forward because he's just not going to be healthy. We saw them actually. Remember, we were watching that during one of our live bet Sundays. We were actually trying to find some Tyler Warren anytime touchdown because it was one of the first games in which he got injured. And you're like, they're not using him in quarterback sneaks at all. And then sure enough, we found that out. So you're not going to be able to do that. He's not going to be as aggressive as a runner as well. So that also changes things. If he's not going to be, we saw the year Kirk Cousins came back from his Achilles injury, he exclusively lined up in pistol because he couldn't get from under center to hand the ball off to guys. Yeah. That is a serious injury in which you're coming back from. You wonder what Jones is going to look like in that regard. That's part of the threat, and that's part of if you get perfect Daniel Jones, the athleticism has to be part of that, and you're probably not going to get that.
So I feel bad now. This is something that I kind of billed as this is going to be a JVT complaining segment, and then it ended up me getting. Well, I've never been a Daniel Jones person.
Clearly, you've been very rude about it. To be honest with you,
I think that
I've been professional and I've had. I
think it was
a
Michael Lombardi thing because we had worked so long together. Was Lombardi very negative on people? We had worked so long together on the Lombardi line that he poisoned my well a little bit on Daniel Jones. But I was fully in agreement with everything, and now I look at the large sample size that we have seen from Daniel Jones, and nothing tells me he's worth that.
Okay, let me ask you this then. So they re-signed Daniel Jones. Expectation is that he's going to be back at the start of training camp. Let's assume that is accurate. We don't know what he's going to be like, but let's just assume he's under center week 1. Their defensive end group is a nightmare right now because they let Kwity Paye go. They didn't get Trey Hendrickson. We'll see what that looks like.
Which was something that went kind of like under the radar also, by the way, for them defensively.
Wide receiver room's a lot thinner, too. Remember, we didn't talk about this a lot, but Michael Pittman got shipped off to the Pittsburgh Steelers. As we remember, A.D. Mitchell got traded away as well during the regular season last year. 8.5 is the win total for Indianapolis.
Juice to the under, I assume?
Minus 150. That still seems like a playable number to me, to be quite honest with you. Jones coming off the Achilles. A defense that I think is going to be worse this year, whose primary pass rusher is going to be Latu, which, I mean, he was fine last year, but he's not a primary dominant edge rusher.
What do you do now that Trey Hendrickson isn't an option for you?
No idea.
Because you still have to go out and try to do something. Do you do it in the draft?
You can't really trade for Max Crosby. Remember, you shipped off some stuff for Sauce Gardner, so you don't really have a ton to dive into the
What's he going to look like coming back, too? That's another question.
So I think there's a reality where this team is, again, I mean, under 8.5 minus 150, I do think that this is going to be a team that, again, and look at the quarterback room in general. You know, our wonderful fantasy baseball group chat, in which maybe one or two might be watching right now, was making fun of the quarterback room for Indianapolis. If Jones isn't healthy, I mean, good luck.
Where's Anthony Richardson going to end up?
I don't know. What's your baseball pick going to be?
I don't know.
Well, let's collude.
You're giving me too much pressure right now. I don't know. I gotta think it through. I gotta look at my options. I haven't seen who's drafted in the last couple hours.
All right. Let's say I will state this fact that I will give you discount sweetheart deals in a Major League Baseball fantasy trade down the road when you're competing and I'm not.
I don't believe that for a second, even if it were to happen. The Texans, by the way, plus 145 favorites in the AFC South. Colts third on the board at 4-1. We got to step aside. We were supposed to talk some NHL here. We'll get to it later. We'll be back.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
PGA Championship coming up tomorrow. Players Championship. Oh my goodness. See, I finally
Championship is a major,
Stormy. And then I messed it up. Well, so this is why it's on my head. Unofficial fifth major coming up from TPC Sawgrass. The Players Championship. Get it right. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you live in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. You know who won't make that mistake? Christopher Powers, who joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Golf Digest senior writer. Follow him on X at CPowers14. Welcome in. How are you today?
Great. Here at the Players Championship. Very excited for that.
See, went right for it right away.
Exactly.
Let's start here at the top of the board because Scottie Scheffler obviously favored at the top once again, as we have come to know every single tournament when he is involved. That's where he's going to go. Has had a bit of a strange start to this season. What have you made of Scheffler's performance, especially this past week in the final round?
You know, It is the iron play that he's sort of struggled with, but as he's kind of been banging the drum, it's such a small sample size, although I'd argue not so much that small. He's played in a number of events this year and just hasn't really been sharp in that area, and he's so incredible that he still managed to win the Amex. He still managed to contend a few times, but the last 2 weeks, his two worst finishes so far, so trending in the wrong direction, and you want your approach play to be pretty sharp when you're coming to play this golf course, TPC Sawgrass, as he knows better than anyone as a two-time winner here, one of the very few two-time winners here. So, look, they're not going to make him 10-1 anytime soon. Just a crazy price still for a guy who I believe is well outside the top 50 in strokes gained approach coming into the week.
Is there, in golf sometimes, you can speak to this a little bit better in terms of some narrative and some specifics, Chris, but it does seem like there are times throughout golf where you'll see these dudes explode and they'll have 1 or 2 year stretches of really dominant play and then kind of fall off. Is there any fear that this might be the start of that for Scheffler?
I'm not going to say that,
okay.
Although I have heard a famous quote many times from three-time major champ Padraig Harrington, who played really good golf for a long time. He's often said you really only have 18 months of really great form, but then there's guys like Tiger Woods and there's guys like Scottie Scheffler who have multiple years of it. I do not think Scottie Scheffler is an 18-month peak type of guy. Again, just going through a little rough spot with his irons. I think he'll get it corrected here soon, but too scary to jump in on him this week with the way he's hitting them.
Somebody else I wanted to ask you about, Jake Knapp. I know here on the network he was a very popular name last week, and then he ends up having to withdraw from the Arnold Palmer due to illness. Had a great start to the season, though. Is he someone we should be targeting again this week, or is there any concern coming off of having to withdraw a week ago?
Yeah, I'm all over Jake Knapp this week. I actually specifically was hunting him down yesterday here on property because I was on him last week at Bay Hill. Obviously a controversial WD right before he teed off. Illness was cited. I caught up with his coach, Boyd Summerhays, who he started working with at the beginning of the year, who said it was a back tweak, and he actually specifically pointed to his lower left portion of his back, but mentioned that the 4 days off he took last week were necessary. He ended up playing 9 holes on Monday here at Sawgrass. He played another 9 yesterday, and Summerhays said he's swinging it well. And obviously when he's played this year, he's been outstanding. He's leading the tour in scoring average, one of the best tee to green players in the world right now. He's finished T11 or better in all 5 starts. So as long as he stays out of the rough, which is quite thick, hopefully I'm praying he doesn't tweak that back further this week. I still think it's worth the gamble at 50-1, which I got him at, the way he's hitting the golf ball.
Speaking of backs, Rory McIlroy's has also been bothering his. Is he out there? I think today was the day he was supposed to show up, correct?
He did show up about an hour ago. He had 2 clubs in his hand. It looked like just wedges. No one's seen him hit a ball yet. I believe he's in the clubhouse as we speak. But again, judging by the way he walked in with 2 wedges, maybe he's just going to hit a few chips. He has a late tee time tomorrow afternoon, so he can kind of wait it out, see how he feels. And he probably won't go too hard today when he does eventually hit any golf balls. But he is on property as we speak.
So how do you handle him? I mean, because he's got this back. He's called it stubborn, a tweak, whatever the words were. But he's still priced right there at about 16, 15-1. Do we want to play against him? What do we expect for him this week?
It might be a good idea if you can target him in a matchup because, again, he's going to wait it out. I'm sure I don't know if there's any matchups available right now given his status, but if he does tee it up, maybe, wait till the final minute, see if you can find a matchup on him, target him there. Because he's not going to want to risk really going too hard with the Masters looming and a big title defense there.
Golf Digest, Christopher Powers joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Who else should we be targeting in terms of the outright markets looking ahead to things getting underway tomorrow?
Yeah, I just love this number on Hideki Matsuyama, 42-1. Kind of the number he seems to win at. He's kind of thrown everybody off the scent since that brutal loss at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, but the numbers are great this year. He's 21st on tour in strokes gained tee to green, 15th in total strokes gained. He is the best scrambler on the PGA Tour, world-class short game. Unbelievable recent history here. If we go all the way back to 2020, he led after round 1 before the entire world shut down due to COVID. Then 2 top 6 finishes in 2023 and 2024. So I really like Hideki at 42-1, just kind of laying in the weeds. I mentioned Knapp And then I know a lot of people got Brooks Koepka, something like 100-1. I did bet him at 65-1. I saw enough at the Cognizant Classic. His T9 finish finally got the putter rolling. I don't think it's going to take him long to kind of remind everybody who he is. So I like Brooks Koepka a lot this week.
All right, like it. Oh, in terms of maybe top 10s, top 5s, top 20s, or any guys that you would look at, maybe not so much for the outrights, but some of those strong finishes?
Yeah, I'm going with Nikolai Højgaard. I think this guy is a future major championship winner. His twin brother Rasmus is a good player as well, but Nikolai has been the far better player this year, one of the best tee to green players on tour, top 25 in all 4 events he's played this year. And then Maverick McNeely is a guy who should thrive at this golf course, has all the tools to play well here. He did tie for 9th here in 2024, a guy who's made 5 out of 6 cuts this year with 3 finishes inside the top 15. So I'm on Mav and Nikolai Højgaard, top 20, top 10.
How much do you bet into some of these matchups, and is it an opportunity for bettors, you think, to find advantages on certain numbers and guys that you dislike having an opportunity to fade? Plus, is there one maybe that you have been angling for this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on Ricky Fowler over Shane Lowry. I'm just going to bank on Shane Lowry to still be reeling off that, let's call it what it is, a total choke job at the Cognizant Classic. Yeah. He missed the cut at Bay Hill. He has fared quite well here at TPC Sawgrass, but you got to imagine that took a lot out of him mentally and physically, whereas Ricky has been trending really nicely this entire season and hasn't really had that in contention moment yet. I think we might see that this weekend from Ricky Fowler, who obviously has won here in the past. So Ricky over Lowry for me this week.
Yeah, we were kind of joking last week because Cognizant Classic, because I had Shane Lowry as a top 10 and top 20. And as we got to the final round, I'm just kicking myself all day about not having an outright on him. And then he does what he does, that it ended up being a blessing in disguise.
God, you didn't have him outright. I felt the same way, not having bet him outright that week at tournament he's played really well at. Hasn't closed the door there yet. Kudos to you on the top 20, top 10 bet.
Can I ask you? I mean, we're about a month away from the Masters. Have you beefed up your Masters portfolio at all? Have there been some guys that have stuck out that you think are worth adding now before we get there?
I have not. I don't love the numbers right now, and obviously they wait to adjust kind of to the week of. And I'm always a Bryson DeChambeau guy at the Masters, and he's just been basically sitting at 10-1 and hasn't even really done anything on LIV yet this year. So hopefully he doesn't, because then he'll be probably down into single-digit territory. So I'll probably wait for an adjustment and go big on Bryson like I did last year.
I know you're busy out there on site. Thank you for taking the time for us. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks, Chris.
Christopher Powers, everybody, senior writer again over there at Golf Digest. Should be a fun tournament this weekend.
Yeah, this one is good. I mean, and then this is where you start to gear up, right? Again, we're less than a month away from the start of the Masters. Yep. Guys are starting to try to refine their game. I mean, you heard it from him in terms of Rory, maybe taking it easy or watching the back because you want to make sure that you're going to be healthy for Augusta. So we are in that home stretch as we head to the first major of the season. Very excited. The first major. This is not a major, Stormy.
I know. I'm working on it. Why'd you have to bring it up again? Reminder, everybody, as well as you're driving in your car, maybe listening to us on the road, you can cash on your commute with the Upside app. You can download Upside from the App Store or Google Play Store, claim an offer at a nearby station, and start earning instantly. Plus, promo code SPORTS right now. Get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. Drivers are earning $200 to $300 a year just from the gas purchases they were already making. It's simple. It's fast. You can get that cash back cashed out anytime to your bank account or e-gift cards like Amazon. Download the Upside app today. Again, use that promo code SPORTS, SPORTS, for your 25 cent per gallon bonus. Offers vary by user and location. See upside.com for details. How is our UNLV score looking?
28-15 okay. UNLV up on top with 7:24 left to go in the first. The good sign for us outside of the lead is the fact that UNLV is shooting just 25% from beyond the arc.
Okay. Lots to keep tabs on. Can't believe the show is already almost over. One segment to go, which will have our best bets, though, so stick around. A lot more to come here as we wrap things up next.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
up this Wednesday edition of Money Moves. This segment sponsored by Upside. Download the free Upside app today and earn real cash back every time you fill up that gas tank. Plus, the promo code SPORTS will get you 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. 25 cents back per gallon, rather. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you.
Might have a live betting opportunity for us here, Stormy.
Hit me with
let's see. Halftime, the pre-flop total was 164.5, and we have a grand total of 52 points between Louisville and SMU in the ACC tournament in the second round. Not exactly a offensive showcase for Louisville, which has been the problem here. 8 of 27 from the floor, 2 of 14 from beyond the arc, 30% from the floor. SMU not much better, 41% from the floor and 27% from three. Can we get a little bit of correction here in the second half?
We shall see. SMU, by the way, the spread earlier on, 6.5. When we talked about this game, I liked the points. With it being a tie game, you at least feel good about it for now. Can you hold on and continue to keep it close?
Total's down to 138.5 for a game that closed at 164.5.
136.5 the DraftKings right now.
Here we go.
Sheesh.
Might be worth looking at.
We do have 2 games coming up in the National Hockey League tonight as well, which somebody call the schedule makers because the, I don't know, lack of spreading them out.
I heard a promo that said it was a monster card today in the NHL.
Oh, was the one you said yesterday that was a blatant lie? I said at the end of the show, you are a lying liar who lies.
Washington-Philly is a good game.
No, it is not.
It matters a lot.
It does not matter at all. For 2 teams that are on the outside looking into the playoff
I meant a
race.
monster favorite, and that was the Ottawa Senators, who are $1.90 favorite today against the Canadiens. And I like Ottawa, but I don't know if I want to lay that $1.90. What do you think?
I hate you so much sometimes.
Why? That was a perfect setup. That's where you go, John, I was thinking that too. And then you go into the analysis. You don't have to
Yeah,
tell
but
me
I
you hate
can't
me.
take you when you do the things that you do because our audience doesn't know that you're doing them. You know that you're doing them, and it bothers me.
I'm trying to set her up. I don't understand what's happening. That was a lob, and you literally just watched it pass
Sorry,
you by.
I completely agree. Well played by you. I think that Ottawa, it's just been bet out too much. It was a much shorter number earlier on this morning, but I do think maybe a regulation play if you want to bring it down -120. We'll get to the best bets in a moment, but that is something that I'm going to add to the account. I think an Ottawa Senators team total over 3.5 makes a lot of sense here too. For Montreal, they're on the second half of back-to-back after beating the Leafs yesterday 3-1. Jacob Dobish started that game, so I thought it would be Sam Montembeault today. It is not, though. They ended up calling up Jacob Fowler, who's going to start. And I think clearly this is a signal from leadership that Montembeault is not playing well enough. And it's true. Gave up 5 goals against the Ducks last Friday, 4 against the Isles the game prior. He's given up 4+ in 4 of his last 6 starts. Fowler has only started 10 games this year for the NHL club, but it was a similar sense when he was put into the lineup previously, too. It was just kind of like, okay, Dobish isn't playing as well as he should. Let's try to inject a little bit of a motivation here. He's 4-4-2, 2.62 goals against, 902 save percentage, but the last 2 starts back in January. Losing goalie in a 5-3 loss to Buffalo and a 4-0 loss to Detroit. So we've seen this bet out for Ottawa, -160, -195. They're on a nice run here, 7-game point streak, 9-1-2 their last 12. Important game for them as well in terms of trying to chase down that last spot for the wild card in the Eastern Conference. They're trying to catch Boston, who they won yesterday. So they extend their position out from 3 to a 5-point advantage. So it's a very important game for Ottawa. Linus Ullmark has been playing a lot better since he came back from that weird leave of absence thing. As a team, goaltending has been their problem most of the year. We talked about this with Jonathan Davis yesterday on the program. But since January, Ottawa, first in the league in goals against per game, 6th as well in goals for, 3rd in wins, 2nd in points percentage. Jake Sanderson still not available as he's week to week, which is important on the back end, but defensively they've been playing well without him. So I don't think that's a huge concern in this matchup specifically. My only concern with Ottawa is the whole body clock thing coming off of what was a 5-game road trip of 5 of those games out there on the West Coast, only 1 day in between for this one. So don't love laying a -192 money line price, but like I said, cheapening it down a little bit here at the -120. And then for the Caps Flyers game, this is just it. It's just a stay away. It's a 2-game card, so if you really, really want to bet something, I guess I would lean under. And there are, what?
I just like that. I guess if you want something.
If you really want something, you could. But these are 2 teams that were talked about for a while as trying to work themselves into a playoff spot. It's not going to happen. Flyers all but sealed their fate in that ugly loss to the Rangers on Monday. They're -1,800 now on the no to make the playoffs prop. Caps on the other side, minus 1,000. They're 9 and 7 points out, respectively. Washington's lost 3 of their last 4. And even though the most recent game, they blow out the Calgary Flames 7-3, it's also the Flames who are the second worst team in the National Hockey League. So I don't really know what to take from that. At least in terms of the recent meetings between these two, they played twice in February. Flyers won 4-2 at home. Washington won 3-1 at Washington. So maybe another lower scoring game. But that's all I really got for you there.
I need to do something non-data related. This is all about the money, the juju around certain things. I would like the sports betting gods to know that I reject the energy from Chris Macero's most recent tweet, in which he has responded to us and said, "So much for sharp money trying to mush this UNLV start."
Come on, Chris.
I reject the energy. Let the gods know it. I reject the energy from said tweet. I just want to put that out there.
You can't do that.
The last time somebody did that to me, they may or may not have lost out on quite a few thousands of dollars. I refuse. I refuse the energy.
It's just wrong.
Just want to put that out there. That's it.
What's the rebounding stat at right now? Because
you're trying to rub it into Chris Massaro. You're trying to rub it in. Now you are.
I'm genuinely curious.
37-23 score right now.
I'm not rubbing it into anything. Yeah. I would like my bet to cash, so I'm not going to get any negative juju.
18-14 right now. The big problem for Wyoming.
I mean, not that much.
Yeah, the big problem for Wyoming is 0 for 13 from beyond the arc. Probably not great.
Well, as we get to the best bets, obviously UNLV minus 2.5. We both have live right now. I just said the Sens 60-minute line for me minus 120. I'm going to make official, and I didn't play it, but I could maybe by the time we get to puck drop over 3.5 on the team total for Ottawa against a recalled goalie. We did well yesterday. I cashed Hofstra, although that was a little bit dicey there late for anybody who was watching the end of the CAA championship. I think Monmouth brought it within 2. I laid 3.5. The closing number was 4.5. The opener was 5.5. They ended up covering everything the way that things played out late. So good for that one. You cashed on the Spurs, and you've added a couple more NBA games to the card tonight.
Yep. So Hofstra gets there for Stormathan. I get the Spurs minus 3.5. Totally had it the whole way, by the way. In no way, shape, or form did I need Jaylen Brown to get ejected. And and early on in the game, too.
Second quarter, right?
You got ejected like the second quarter. The Spurs were still losing. So this was totally a lucky result for me. You see Hofstra and the result there for Stormy. 2 today. I've decided why not. We're doing all right in the association. Got some cash to burn. So let's add the Rockets plus 7.5 against the Denver Nuggets. And the real one that we like, Clippers minus 1.5 against the Minnesota Timberwolves, as well as UNLV play that we have put together.
So, yeah, I know we talked about this Clippers-Timberwolves game a little bit earlier, but for anyone who missed that part of the handicap, why do you like LA so much?
No. No, I'm just like, sorry, I was watching this Auburn game. They're down by 4. Look,
Please lose.
There's a couple of things here.
Electric.
The bottom line is the Clippers have covered 11 out of their last 13 games. They've been playing extremely well. Timberwolves are not a team that you can trust at this point. They're still working on some of the issues defensively. I think that the LA Clippers have proven to be an underrated team by the betting market. Again, we go back to what we talked about this with the Clippers and the 500 thing, right? They have been a team that since their awful start, they are playing at a level that does not reflect what their record is. To reiterate the stat we're talking about, we had this yesterday. From 6-21 to 32-32, the Clippers have become the second team in NBA history to reach 500 after falling 15 or more games below 500 earlier in the season. 2016-2017 Miami Heat started 11-30, 19 games under, finished 41-41. No team has ever moved above 500 after previously being 15 or more games under 500. The Clippers can do it tonight if they beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. That in and of itself, they were 6-21. They're on the verge of getting above 500 right now in March. They are playing at a level that is beyond measure right now. And same thing with Kawhi, too. He's outside of Shea, realistically, since that 6-21 start.
Yeah.
You could argue Kawhi's actually been just as good, if not better, than Shea over that stretch. He's just never going to win MVP because, of course, they're a 500 team.
It's awesome. I'm happy for you to finally have something to cheer for.
I need it.
On a day like today, especially with all the Colts news, I just can't get this Auburn game off my mind here. 4-point game right now. Mississippi State up with still a few minutes to go here in the first half. But especially considering they lost at Mississippi State a few weeks ago, I would just love this to be a no-doubter. Just get bounced right away in the SEC tournament.
Lose right away and then still make it in. How about that?
No! That wouldn't happen.
Yeah. We have a tight one, too, we should note, with 2 minutes left. Richmond and Loyola Chicago. Spiders closed, opened 5.5, got down to like 4.5 in most spots. They are only up by 1 with 2 minutes left to go.
That's a wrap for us today. We'll have plenty more conference tournament action to discuss tomorrow on the program. And while we only had 2 games in the NHL today, we will have 14 tomorrow. So plenty to handicap there. Also,
some would say a monster card.
The play ball series will continue with a 2-teamer since we didn't get to one today, but we will make sure that we get you covered there as we continue to preview all things MLB and what will happen tonight for Team USA as Italy and Mexico go head-to-head in the World Baseball Classic. Should be fun. You know who else is going to talk about that? Mitch and Pauly coming up. Follow the money after this. Keep it locked right here and all day on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.